Hey, welcome back to the Mindful Minute. My name is Ashley Molina and I'm an integrative nutrition coach. And on today's episode, I want to talk to you about the menstrual cycle. I'm a firm believer that we do not have enough education on women's bodies or their cycles. And so I've been wanting to make this video series for a little while now, and I'm very excited to get started. So I'm going to split this series into 2 videos so that there's not too much information or it's too overwhelming, because I want you to really understand everything that I am saying. So in the first video today, I'm just going to talk about the scientific reasons behind why we go through a menstrual cycle and the specific phases within our cycle that occur every month for women. In the second video, I'm going to talk about how to live in sync with your cycle and about some of the wisdom that can come from really tuning into the cycle every month. Although women's hormones are very complex, there is some foundational knowledge that every woman should understand about her body and about the cycle that it goes through every single month. Better understanding of your cycle can improve mental, physical, and sexual health, which is why it's very important. So let's get started with talking about our cycles. There are 4 main phases of the cycle. The first phase is menstruation. When your body is eradicating or getting rid of the lining of the uterus that it built up throughout the month. When you do not become pregnant, you shed the lining, and this is what menstruation is. During this process, you are losing a lot of blood, cells, and iron, so it's best to take it very easy. Also, if you're someone that suffers with extreme PMS, bloating, really bad cramping, or any of those period symptoms, I just want you to know that that's actually not normal. Our bodies were not designed to keep us in pain and discomfort. That is a sign of a larger hormonal imbalance. If you are interested in learning how to rectify out of whack hormones, I have 2 book recommendations for you, which we're going to talk about at the end of this video. Phase 2 of the cycle is called the follicular phase. So this phase actually overlaps menstruation, and it starts on day 1 of menstruation and goes to about day 14 of the cycle. An average woman's cycle is about 28 days, but that doesn't mean that that's true for everyone. In fact, we all have our own rhythm in our body, and some of us have much shorter or longer cycles. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to use the 28-day cycle so that you're able to understand about the amount of time that you're in each phase. During the follicular phase, the hypothalamus actually stimulates the pituitary gland to release FSH hormone, or follicle stimulating hormone. This hormone actually stimulates the ovary to produce 5 to 20 follicles. One of these follicles will turn into a mature egg, and the lining of the uterus starts to thicken in case of pregnancy. This is also when levels of estrogen start to rise. Something I want to note here about the follicular phase is that a lot of people have been told the myth that on day 14 is when you ovulate. And the truth is, that's just not the way it works for everyone. That is an average 28-day cycle, but we are all very different and we do not all ovulate on the same day. So there's actually no exact pinpoint of a day that we ovulate. It's just when that follicular phase ends, and then we move into our third phase, which is ovulation. Ovulation is actually triggered by another hormone that started to rise during the follicular phase, which is called LH, or luteinizing hormone. And so this hormone, as it peaks, sets off ovulation. When ovulation peaks, that mature egg that came from a follicle is then pushed down into the fallopian tubes, and if it is not met with sperm, it will then die within 24 hours. Now, this means that there's actually only a 24-hour window that you can get pregnant. There are stipulations to this, so if you're someone who is looking to prevent pregnancy naturally, you definitely want to educate yourself a little bit more on all the stipulations surrounding this. But the truth of the matter is, scientifically, there's actually only a 24-hour window when that mature egg is sitting and waiting to be fertilized. And if the egg becomes fertilized, HCG hormone is sent out. So this is the hormone that is used in pregnancy testing. And then the lining of the uterus starts to thicken even more, preparing for that pregnancy. If this does not happen, then we are ready to shed out that lining of the uterus. After ovulation, then we move into phase 4, which is the luteal phase. In the luteal phase, progesterone starts to drop, and then this is what signals menstruation. So these are the 4 phases of the cycle. I used to think it was just the period, just menstruation. I had no idea that there were other parts to the cycle. So we have menstruation, follicular phase, ovulation, and the luteal phase. This system with our hormones is very complex and intricate, but it's also very fragile, meaning if we aren't supporting ourselves with the right food, lifestyle factors, eliminating toxins, incorporating stress relievers like exercise, then we are subject to getting out of whack hormones and hormonal imbalances, which causes us to have terrible symptoms and can also cause things like infertility and miscarriage. But you don't have to suffer through hormonal imbalances. There is a better way. And first, educating yourself on your cycle is one of the most important steps that you can take to do that. There is so much wisdom to be tuned into with our cycles as women. Actually very amazing when you start to live in sync with your cycle, which is what we're gonna talk about in the next video next week. As for resources of continued learning on this topic and on any hormonal topics that you're interested in, I recommend 2 books. The first book is called Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom by Christine Northrup. She is a OBGYN and she is also the pioneer in holistic medicine and holistic practices for women specifically. This book covers all things hormonal, medical issues, and anything to do with the woman's body. And it's viewed from a holistic lens. By that, I mean that factors such as the mind-body connection, past trauma, current stresses can really impact what we're going through with our hormones or medical conditions as women. I think this book is one that we should read in school as we are growing up as women because it really does cover everything that you need to know about your hormones, which affect every single thing in your life. The second book I want to recommend is called WomanCode by Alyssa Vitti, and she is also a holistic health coach. She's an alumni from the integrative nutrition school that I went to, and this is such an amazing book if you're someone who deals with hormonal issues like bad periods. This book gives you the full rundown on your hormonal cycle, the phases, and then also how to live in sync with your cycle and how to incorporate certain foods and self-care practices and amplify your life by living in tune with the cycle. In WomanCode, Alyssa also talks a lot about how to balance blood sugar and how that plays a big part in our hormonal issues. And for me, implementing what she has talked about in this book has been a very big life-changing experience. So I highly recommend just checking that out. I am such a firm believer in understanding and integrating mind and body when it comes to health. And I truly believe that as women, we have been underserved in this area and in education surrounding our bodies. And so it is my goal and my passion to be able to bring some enlightenment in this area to as many people as possible. So I really hope you'll stay tuned and watch the video next week. And please, please share this with other women in your life so that we can all have the understanding we need to live in true health and harmony with our hormones.